So I wanted to do a fast video, something that I could put out for you guys today, because again, I'm just kind of I'm recovering, so I think that's important. Recovering, right? Is this focusing? I think it's focusing. Make sure it's focusing. Yeah, it's focusing. I think it's focusing. So we bought some new winter tires in October, I think it was, for our Tucson, and we had been using our Salem tires. We did a little review of the Salem tires over the 4 years that they lasted. And we ended up buying a different set of tires this time. One of the reasons is that in our area, it was one of the only tires that we could get fairly quick. They were in stock and we could get them shipped to where we were putting them on, et cetera, et cetera. And we ended up getting the Firestone WINTERFORCE 2s. These ones right here. These are the tires that we got. Now they get really good reviews, 4.5 stars, 8 reviews. And if you look at the price right now, they're not necessarily like cheap tires, as far as I would consider, like a budget. And usually sounds funny, we usually go for a lesser expensive tire just because, and we really didn't know since we moved to Nova Scotia what the winters would be like. You know, there are some people say, oh, it's really mild. And some people are like, oh, you get a lot of snow. So we were like, well, we'll get these for now. $759, that's what the set of 4 costs, but it wasn't how much it cost when we bought them. When we bought them, we got them, it was a total of $528. So it was like $130-ish instead of the $189 per tire. So we got them at a much better deal, and I think that's probably because they ordered a bunch of winter tires, of course, for beginning of winter versus trying to order winter tires when it's March, right? When nobody's buying them anymore. Anyways, what are our thoughts? What are our thoughts on these tires? So if you look at some of the reviews here on this site, they give you good quality wheels. What do they say here? Speak your truth, be yourself, and buy good snow tires. Sure, 4 stars. So far, so good. 4 stars. 4 stars. Tires are working well. Yeah, great deal. Would recommend. Okay, nobody really seems to go into detail too much. And we put a different brand on our other vehicle, which was an Equinox, which we no longer have. But they were on that vehicle. And without question, the other tires, which were like a much bigger traction tire, almost like an off-roady type tire, would get way more traction. So if you're someone that really needs traction all the time and you're getting a lot of ice and slush and all that kind of stuff, you know what? Investing a little bit more into the tire, especially over these, I think is not a bad idea, because I definitely felt more confident on the other tires, and we'll probably talk about those in a future video. But we bought the WINTERFORCE, the Firestone WINTERFORCE tires, WINTERFORCE 2, I guess they are, in October, once the weather started getting a little cooler. So, once we started seeing it getting into that, highs of plus 10-ish degrees Celsius. Because once you get below like plus 7, winter tires start having benefit, even if there's not a lot of snow on the ground. Now, I would say, we drove them in October and November, and we barely got any snow. We get a little bit of snow, of course it would warm up, it would all melt. And they are a really nice running tire, especially when you don't have a lot of snow and it's cold, right? So they were surprisingly quiet. I really, I had read some reviews saying that they were a little loud. No, I find them really quiet. We're even driving them now, of course, because we haven't switched our tires. And I don't find them a whole lot. They're definitely a little louder than, let's say, an all-season or a summer tire. But compared to the tires, the real off-road winter tires that we have or had on our Equinox, these ones are surprisingly quiet in comparison. And for us, that we have these on a Tucson, 2-wheel drive, they are really they're a really smooth running tire. Again, surprisingly smooth. You know what? I don't think if you sat in the vehicle and you didn't go outside and look at the tires and realize that they were winter tires, you would probably not even in your head be like, oh no, these are definitely winter tires. Now the other ones that we have again on the Equinox, without question, you'd be like, these are either off-road tires or winter tires for sure. So I would say if you don't get a ton of snow, these are going to be really good because they had really good traction, of course, day-to-day stuff. When we got and it got cold and you got like thick snow, they held out pretty good. Had no problems. There was a little bit of lateral movement if you went around a corner a little bit faster than maybe you should in the winter because there was a lot of snow. Sometimes you could feel a little bit of slippage on that lateral movement as it kind of came around. Forward and backwards, they gripped actually fairly well. Again, for the price point, I thought they did a good job. Now, there was one issue that this is the first tire I've ever actually really seen this happen, and it was in a really specific type of condition. And we actually, our house is on a hill, so it's on a hill, but our driveway's on an even steeper little hill. The other vehicle, the Equinox, even though it's an all-wheel drive, of course the all-wheel drive doesn't kick in till one of the tires starts slipping. With the other tires, would have no problems climbing up this incline. No problems. You just kind of put it in drive, and from the bottom to the top, she would just slowly just climb herself right up there. Perfect. She got good traction. She'd grip into it. Again, a much more aggressive tread on those tires. But these tires, the Firestones, and it's a weird kind of temperature scenario. You get this snow that falls, but it's warm enough so that the snow is starting to sort of melt a little bit. So you get this slushy area inside there on the ground. It's kind of like a snow slush that's covering it. She just wouldn't grip. She wouldn't grip at all. We would have to take a run at our driveway to get up. So from nothing, and you'd hit the gas, she'd just start spinning. She would lose traction completely. And I think it's because the treads aren't deep enough to get traction into something like this. And you can see kind of in the video here that she would just slide. Those tires wouldn't be able to grab. And it's the first time I've ever experienced this. None of our tires had slippage quite like this. So I think if you're in an area that you get this kind of weather a lot, where it's a lot of snow in and around that 0 degrees Celsius mark, where it's melting a lot, and you get this layer of like a slushy layer. These, for us at least, and you live on an incline, were a bit of an issue. For sure, a bit of an issue. Would I buy them again? I don't know. To be honest with you, everything was good. Everything was good on these tires, except for the fact that where we live on an incline, a pretty steep incline, we have to take a run at our driveway. Like, unless it's completely cleaned right down to nothing, or there's enough hard packed snow for it to kind of grip into. If you don't have one of those two, I found that they slipped a fair bit. So if you're not in that kind of circumstance or scenario, then I'd say, yeah, you should be good. If you are like us and you live in an area where that's the kind of weather you get, and of course you live on an incline, that's a fairly steep incline, of course, that's going to be an issue as well. Our other tires, no problem at all. So I'd probably spend more and get those other tires. Again, future video. And I'd put them probably on the Tucson because they gripped everywhere. Loud, definitely loud. You can tell you're driving on a winter tire, but they gripped better. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Firestone WINTERFORCE 2s. 4 stars? Yeah. For me, I'd give it a 3, but that's really just because of, I think, where we live. If we didn't live on this hill, I'd definitely give them 4, maybe even a 5, because for the rest of the time, they worked really good. So I think it all depends. All right, my friends, that's it. Firestone WINTERFORCE 2s. We bought them at Canada Wheels, just in case you guys care. It was just the cheapest place to get them at the time that we could get right away. And that's all. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that little notification bell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, my friends.